Hey everybody, this is Seth Keeping It Real. Hope you guys are having an awesome day so far. Today I am very honored to be able to have Ashlin Hadden on the Just One Dime Show. Hello, Ashlin.
Good morning, afternoon. How are you?
Doing well. For some people, it is morning. We have
Right.
people from all over the world watching this, and this is super cool. Ashlin Hadden is an expert on insurance. And if you sell on Amazon or any online business, she can answer questions about insurance for you. And that's a question that comes up a lot. People want to know, do I need insurance? Is it something I should worry about? And a lot of people I've noticed, Ashlin, they start off their business. They're really focused, like, I got to figure this out and make money. But they don't think about insurance. And then something happens and like, oh, shoot, am I covered? Have you run into this before? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a lot of this community are, they come out and say, well, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm starting my own business. And oh, I hear there's rumors that I need insurance. Or they said, well, somebody in my community just had a claim and maybe I should look at insurance. Well, you really should have insurance before you just opened your account. But a lot of you don't have it. So it's okay. We're here to help. But Amazon and a lot of other platforms do require the insurance. So not only is it a good thing to have, but a lot of the platforms are requiring it too.
Do you think that more platforms in the future are going to require it? Like it's a growing trend?
Yeah, definitely. So like Amazon's requiring it, Jet.com's requiring it, Walmart.com, those types of places are requiring it. The more claims there are out there, the more these other platforms are going to start mandatory certificates of insurance on file. So I definitely see the trend moving more towards having it versus not, because we're in such a litigious environment right now.
And is this something to do with the e-commerce online mentality where, I'm starting a business online, it's not quite as official, I'm just making some money, but now it's becoming more official. It's being treated more like a brick and mortar store. Do you think that's part of the issue is because e-commerce is so new, still kind of?
Yeah.
Like people are, what do I collect taxes? Most brick and mortar stores, they know what to do. They have to do that. But e-commerce is different. Do you think that's part of the reason why people are like slowly moving that direction?
It is. And with being on e-commerce, when you go into a brick and mortar, there's somebody there that owns that building, and it's a little bit harder to file a claim because you might know who that person is. E-commerce, you don't know who these people are, and it's easy to hide behind a computer. So the claims that come out of e-commerce come out a lot quicker because there's no guilt behind somebody filing a claim because they don't know who owns this business. So e-commerce it's moving towards where it's more litigious now than even a brick and mortar. So brick and mortars, you got slip and fall, where e-commerce, you have everything. You have IP claims, you have, new sold as used, like all of these types of things that your typical brick and mortar doesn't have.
That makes total sense. That's crazy.
They can hide behind a computer easier.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people will say crazy things on social media or in chat rooms, but then if you meet them in person, right, they're not the same way. Like there's this guy.
Oh, no, I can't say anything.
Yeah, there's this guy I know. He does support for a gaming company, and he goes, people chat the most nasty things, like fierce, ridiculous, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Then you get them on the phone, and they're the most meek, people in the world.
They hide behind that keyboard.
Yeah. Sometimes I just want to say, I'd love to meet you in person.
Right.
I'll say that to me.
Exactly.
Well, hey, I didn't even do a proper introduction. So, everyone, Ashlin Hadden is the owner of an insurance company that helps to protect people who are selling online. It's all about covering your apple, as we used to say at Apple, and to protect you from, I still say that phrase, I don't know why. I don't have anything against saying the word ass, but it just says cover your apples is kind of funny. But that's what she does. She's a specialist, and I'm very excited to share this as well. She will be speaking at the Just One Dime Summit in March of 2018. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what that is, if you are ever thinking about going to a place where the top people in every category of the Amazon industry are all, and by top people, I mean experts, people who understand. So we're not just looking at generalists. We're talking about someone who knows taxes really well, someone who understands insurance ridiculously good, someone who understands sourcing, like Tim Jordan, really well. We're taking the best of the best, bringing them all together to train you so you can succeed on Amazon. Ashlin Hadden is going to be there, and you have an opportunity to say hi to her, to meet her in person, and she will be teaching us a whole bunch of stuff.
And I might scare you just a little. But then I'll take you back out for drinks in Vegas.
There you go. You got it. And that is March 11 to 13. And Just One Dime Warriors, you guys should know this. Tickets open on, let's see, I'm just checking to make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm right, Sunday. On Sunday, tickets open. And if you're Just One Dime Warrior, you get a massive discount that first week. So anyone who's already in the program, you already get a huge discount. Then after that, the early bird tickets open up. And we're expecting these to go fast. So if you guys are interested, opportunity to meet Ashlin, opportunity to be coached by a ton of experts in different fields and meet each other and network and learn a ton. And we got a whole bunch of surprises for you guys as well that we're not even marketing. You guys will be blown away. I'll just stop right there. It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited. And if they come, drinks on me.
There you go. And you get free drinks. So Ashlin's going to have a whole thing of free coupon tickets. It was so funny.
You get it for free anyways.
What's funny, Ashlin? I went to the conference in Seattle, and I spoke there, and I was sitting next to Tim Jordan, who will be speaking at our summit. And they were doing this raffle prize thing, and I'm reaching down in my name tag, and I'm pulling out the ticket. And he looks at me and goes, dude, those are drink coupons. I was like, where's my ticket? All right. Well, guys, I'm so glad to see everyone here. We have people here from Germany, Ireland, Quebec, England, Costa Rica, the U.S. Really good to see you guys. So we're just going to jump right in. Ashlin, and guys, if you have questions about insurance, this is your opportunity. Ask any questions you want right here in the chat. Ashlin, can you just tell us a little bit about you? Who are you? What do you do? What do you love? And then how did you end up where you are today and what you do?
Yeah. So my first career was in banking. I was a branch manager for many, many years. We lived in the Chicagoland area and decided to move back home. And one of my mother-in-law's friend was like, hey, you should come sell insurance. You'd be great. And I was like, I am not going to be a used car salesman. That's just not me. I'm not interested in it. Insurance people had a bad rap. She's like, just take the interview. So I went on the interview, and my to-be boss said that this was a man's world, that there's no way that you could succeed in selling insurance, and that I would never make anything in this industry. So I said, I'll take the job.
Wow.
It was kind of just a personal goal to prove myself that I could make something in this industry. So I was the top rep in the state, third in the company, rookie of the year, and really just started to enjoy the part of the process of helping customers kind of understand what insurance was. I did that for several years, and then was a little disappointed in growing a business that I didn't own, and that after a couple of years, rates went up and I didn't really have any choices. So I was growing this family that would have to leave because of rate issues. So I decided to jump ship, take the leap of faith, and go completely, go out on my own and open my own agency. So I had more control over my clients, what I call my family. So I got out on my own. Now I've got 40-some companies that I contract with. And Chris Wilkie from FBA Masters was a personal client. And he said, hey, I've got some issues with some people needing help getting Amazon insurance. Can you help me? And I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what you guys did. I was like, Chris, is not worth my time. Nobody likes e-commerce people. The companies are just afraid of you. And he's like, I really need some help. So I spent several months looking for a company that would offer insurance, and finally got him his clients covered. And he's like, hey, I've got this community of like several thousand people. Do you mind if I post about you? And I'm like, yeah, I think it's worth my time now. So I was just kind of thrown into your guys' community. And I realized that you guys were the redheaded stepchildren. Like I said, nobody really liked what you were doing. No offense.
I love the red hair.
Nobody really liked what you guys were doing and didn't understand. So I kind of just wrapped my arms around you, and you kind of became my babies. So the last 15 months, I've really been focusing on just protecting you guys, learning what you're doing. I've been to to 11 conferences this year, and just trying to know what you know so I can protect you guys completely. So it's been an amazing, crazy 15 months, but I'm loving every minute of it.
And it's growing, and it's growing so fast. And so many people are moving to online business. And do you help businesses that aren't just Amazon, but just e-commerce in general as well?
Yeah, so I do everything except health insurance. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. If you want an agent that can help you with your home, auto, and life, and you want an agent that can help you with your e-commerce business or your brick and mortar business, anything that you're doing, that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to make it a very easy process. Your e-commerce insurance solutions, what you need to be protected, from work comp to cargo insurance to your general liability, all of that stuff in between.
So you find the right companies, you match it to their needs, and you put it all in a package and say, here you go. That way we don't have to sit here and think about, who do I call? Who's supposed to do this? All those things.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
What are some of the most common mistakes or misconceptions that Amazon sellers have when it comes to insurance? I know even in our own community, a lot of people ask questions. Well, do I need it? When do I need it? What is the risk? Should I wait until I'm doing, $100,000 a month before I actually start this? Like, what do you run into on that end?
That's a really good question, because there are a lot of misconceptions. So specifically for Amazon sellers, they thought that it used to be 3 consecutive months of $10,000 in sales or more before you had to have a policy. Well, that's not true anymore. Any pro seller selling on Amazon has to have a policy. It's in the terms of service. You've agreed to it. You might not have known you agreed to it because everybody knows how amazing Amazon is, but it's in there. Another misconception is that my homeowner's policy would cover it. I hear that all the time. Well, if I have stock in my house, won't my home cover it? Or if I'm working from home, my homeowner's policy would cover anything I get sued. And that's a huge, huge, huge misconception. If you are doing business out of your home, it is still a business and you will not be covered under your homeowner's policy. And if you had a fire and you had stock at your house, you better be able to explain why you have 10,000 toothbrushes that you like to change your toothbrushes every day. Because if not, then it's not going to be covered.
So what people are doing then is they think, because I'm working from my home and I have a homeowner's insurance, therefore, since this is my business is covered as well, but that's not the case.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, you said something to me earlier before we went live about the first quarter of 2018. Something big is coming, and I'm trying to figure out, should I be nervous about this or should I be excited about this? So what is it?
So we've heard that Q1 of 2018, that Amazon is going to start requiring the certificate of insurance to be uploaded in Seller Central. So all that means is when you get your policy, it's your agent's responsibility to give you that certificate of insurance, and you're going to have to upload it into Seller Central. Now, we don't know the consequences of it not being uploaded into Seller Central, but we can all imagine how Amazon's going to act if we're not doing what they ask us to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They will do whatever it takes to protect, to cover their apple and make sure they're completely free of any blame in case of a lawsuit. So is the primary reason for insurance, like the most important reason, is protection against a lawsuit, or is it something else or a combination of things? What would you say? Okay, so I have multiple online businesses. Seth, the reason you need insurance is because, what are some of the reasons?
Yeah, so the major reason is getting sued. Even if you're not private labeling a product, you can still be sued. So a couple of examples we've gone through in the last couple of months was we had a customer who bought a watermelon cutter, and it cut the tip of her finger off. And she was not private label, it was just RA. But my client still got pulled into a lawsuit because she's the one that sold it. Now, we know she's not going to be held responsible for it, but we still had to defend her. And it still cost us thousands and thousands of dollars to defend her from that lawsuit to make sure that she didn't end up having to pay anything else. So even if it's a false claim or you're not totally responsible for it, you still are going to have to hire an attorney and defend yourself.
Right. And without insurance, a lot of that peace of mind is gone because now you have to spend all this money. And everyone watching right now, for those of you guys who sell baby products, really think about this especially. And Ashlyn, feel free to add to this as well because you know this much better than I do. But the likelihood for someone to sue you when you're selling a product that would be involved in any way with a child or a baby, that's a very big risk. If it's small and they swallowed it and choked on it or something terrible like that happened, you want to be protected because you guys have no power over what happens when that product happens, and you can't control what people claim happened. And there's that side too. You hear the crazy stories about thief breaks into school and tries to steal a computer, but because there were rollerblades on the floor, he tripped on the rollerblades, smashed his head, and now he's suing the school. Like you hear these things and I go, are you serious?
Right.
How crazy really? Are people still doing that with online? Is you seeing that more with e-commerce stores than brick and mortar?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely crazy. And you mentioned something earlier, Ashlyn, about. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you're a little bit of anything that goes on the body, in the body, for a child or for a pet. You better have insurance or stay away.
That's a really good way of looking at it. So on the body, in the body, for a pet or for a child.
Yep.
Got it. And most people at least use products to do one of those. And a lot of people sell products for those purposes too.
And all of them, right.
Exactly. Now, this is really, really helpful. Now, let me ask you this. What is the process like? So, okay, so I have an Amazon store. I need insurance. What do I do? Do I fill out an application? You find the right company. I pay a monthly fee. I'm covered. I send in the document to Amazon. Like that? I mean, have I pretty much covered it?
So I try to make it very, very easy for you. Now, if you have an agent who doesn't know the FBA world, it could be a little bit more difficult. But I process hundreds of these a month. So, I mean, we have streamlined the process very, very easily. You can go to my website and apply, or you can email me and I'll send you the application. We've got it down to like 20, 25 questions, and it's very turnkey. I mean, as long as you're not private labeling anything, we can have it done in a couple of hours. If you're private labeling it, depending on the product, sometimes it takes a little bit longer if we have to go to a high-risk company. But I mean, we walk you through every process of it. Everything's done electronically. You don't even have to talk to me if you don't want to talk to me. We can do it all through email. So it's a really simple simple process. And then I upload the certificates. Right now I'm mailing the certificates to Amazon. So once they start allowing the uploads into Seller Central, we can work that out too. But right now, I know everything that needs to do it. You say yes, sign the paper, give me the money, you're good to go. It's that quick.
And is it based on the kind of insurance that they get? Is it product based? So if it's a baby product, that's going to be different than if we're selling health products or kitchen products or industrial products. Is it changed based on that?
It's kind of more like RAOA wholesale is lumped into one kind of policy, and then private label is lumped into another one. Okay. So because you're private label, even though you're not physically putting the pin in the cap, that you are still considered the manufacturer as soon as you put that label on it. So you are so much more liable for that product if you're private labeling it versus RAOA and wholesale. So you're kind of lumped into two different categories. We look at what you're selling, how much of it you're selling, where are you sourcing it from, even down to what state you live in. Each state has different rates. So if you're in California, it's going to be a lot different than you're here in Indiana. So we look at all that, right. So that's kind of how we do it. And the application walks you through that. And then I ask some questions about other things that you might be doing that might give me an idea of additional endorsements that you might need. Like, do you run your own website? Are you storing credit card information? You might need a cyber liability policy. Are you using your personal vehicle for business use? We might need to add an auto endorsement. So I ask those type of questions that I know a lot of the sellers are doing that don't realize they're opening themselves up for some exposure there. So I kind of walk you through those to see what else we need to add in to make sure you're 100% protected.
That's super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's based on all these different details. That's very, very helpful. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of getting a trademark where you have all these different categories and it depends on a whole bunch of different factors, what it's going to cost, what you're going to get, how to do it. Really interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the chat here really quick. And I want to see.
I know it's super sexy topic.
Oh, exactly. Totally. Absolutely. I mean, this is awesome how many people we have here watching right now. It's like, man, like, I didn't know people liked insurance so much.
You guys are making me blush.
You know what's cool about it? You know what's neat about it is the people in the Just One Dime community are so intense about doing things right and doing things well and thinking long term. We constantly talk about this. If you want to succeed on Amazon, you're not going to succeed if you're trying to make a fast buck. You might make a fast buck here and there, but someone else is going to, you know, crush you in competition. If you're trying to succeed, think long term. Think about 5 years from down the road, when the future self thank you for the decisions I made today. And insurance plays right into that. Now, guys, the reason I'm interviewing Ashlin is because of her authority on this topic. I don't just bring in any insurance agent who says, yeah, I got insurance. Okay, let's talk about this. Because of her experience. She speaks at conferences all over the country. And she's going to be at our conference. And so that's why. And she's actually, we're going to do some special training with the presentation and everything just for Just One Dime members. It goes even more in depth. So thank you tons for being here and answering all these questions.
There's another thing too that I get a lot, and we, especially with new sellers that say, well, I can't afford a policy. One, the policies are so cheap. I mean, depending again what you're selling, it could be as cheap as $500 a year. And I say, if you can't afford $500 a year, how the hell are you going to afford to be sued? If you can't afford $50,000 for an attorney, $500,000 for a lawsuit,
right?
$500 a year is worth saving your apple.
Absolutely. I can tell you're going to start using that phrase now.
I'm totally going to use it.
You're going to tell your kids or someone's bugging, you're like, get your apple out of here. And they're like, what? It'll show up on your blogs as well.
There you go. I'll give you all the credit.
Right. Okay, I'm going to take some questions in the chat. Here's a question. Do I need, and I think this question is more for me, do I need an LLC to sell on Amazon? Isaac, you do not, but you get massive advantages when you're an LLC because it protects you from liability. Actually, that brings up a question. So being a sole proprietor, being an LLC, being a C Corp, an S Corp, does insurance change based on that, or does it not matter?
Good question. I get that a lot. So it's not going to change the price of your insurance at all. But everyone keeps saying, well, I have an LLC, so if I get sued, I'll just fold up my company and move on. But that's not going to protect you in a lawsuit. You're still going to have to defend yourself. You're still going to have to hire an attorney. So if you don't have the funds sitting there to hire an attorney to do that, then yes, you still need a policy. So yes, the LLC is going to protect your apple if you get, you know, your personal assets, but it's still not gonna, it's not gonna defend you. Your LLC can't defend you.
Yeah, your company is still at risk because it's your company that's being sued. Absolutely. You know, my tax lawyer, what he has us doing, because we have multiple companies, is so for our Amazon stores, we'll have one Amazon store here with the Amazon main company, and then each store based on its location is underneath that one. And then the same thing with the coaching. We have the coaching here, and then our Hispanic speaking audience coaching, and then other countries underneath that one in order to protect. But I'm thinking, man, like this is helping me to rethink some things about insurance, and we'll definitely be talking after this interview. Here's another question. Hey, Sean, good to see you, brother. And that is awesome. I'm so glad you're part of the team. Hazel has a great question. She's actually was on this show 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
She says, why does it matter if you're selling private label or online arbitrage, retail arbitrage? I think what she's getting at is what's the difference? Help us understand that a little bit. Because you mentioned private label, you're more accountable, less accountable if you're doing RA or OA.
Exactly. So kind of what I just went back to with putting your label on a product. Once you put your label on that product, you're saying this is my pin now, and I'm responsible for whatever it does. So if I jab myself in the eye and I poke my eye out, you're going to get sued and you're going to be liable for it. Now, could we go back to the true manufacturer? Yes. But it's just going to be a lot more difficult. If I'm selling this BIC pin and BIC's name is on here, if I jab my eye out, we're going to sue BIC. Yeah, you're still going to get pulled into the lawsuit, but we can go back and say, well, they just resold this item and it's actually BIC. So we can, what's called subrogate, we can subrogate back to the true manufacturer of the item because it still has BIC's name on it. So, yeah, so just stop putting your label on it if you don't want to be sued.
Well, I was thinking, it's funny how what can work for you can also work against you. So for example, if I wanted to put my label on this tea mug or coffee mug, you know, in this case, it's Water Street. They have the best coffee in the world in Kalamazoo, Michigan. But if I want to put my label on here, I'm saying, this is my brand. I'm responsible for it.
Exactly.
I'm making a claim to it. So if you drink from it and, you know, God forbid that it breaks or something and cuts your mouth or something terrible, well, I put my label on it. So in the same way that I want people to value my brand, I'm also accountable for my brand. And here's another example. I mean, like, let's think of Whirlpool laundry, what can I think of the word? A washer, a Whirlpool washer. Like if the thing exploded or something crazy happened, it starts spinning and shoes start flying out and hit someone in the head. That's Whirlpool. It doesn't matter if someone in, you know, the Middle East or China or somewhere else in the world, South America, manufactured it. If Whirlpool has a corporation here in the U.S., I'm going to sue Whirlpool. Right. I'm not going to say, well, I need to know who's behind that, you know?
So you go back to the hoverboard. Everybody remembers the hoverboard. Amazon was sued for $30 million.
Yeah.
So, but also, the hoverboard caught fire. The people who were upstairs almost killed mom and dad and 2 kids. They had to jump from the 2nd story of their house.
Wow.
Amazon got sued for $30 million. And so did the hoverboard manufacturer because it was a hoverboard the hoverboard brand. And the person who sold it on Amazon got sued. So you can see when somebody gets sued, they throw a bunch of, excuse my language, shit on the wall and see what's going to stick. They sue anybody and everybody who ever touched or looked at or shipped or anything with that product.
Right. Right. It's good. Now, I have a question, and this is kind of more of a business strategy question. I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
Here's what goes through the mind of a new Amazon seller. Okay, I'm going to start up. I just liquidated my savings, my 401k, whatever it is. And I'm putting all my heart and hope into building up this store. And now you're telling me I have to pay to get insurance. And I mean, there's so many expenses. I got to pay for an LLC. You got to pay for an S corp. What about the trademark? Oh, I need a website. There's so many expenses coming out everywhere. And I haven't even started with my product yet. What encouragement could you give to them? Because I know that goes through people's minds. What advice would you give them? I'm not trying to put you on a guilt trip here. No, just I know that's how people think.
It goes back to if you can't afford the policy, you can't afford to be sued. If you're gonna take risk on by yourself and not get a policy right away, then be really, really smart about your products that you choose. It's not gonna save you every time because we had a client who ended up tripping over his client tripped over a box. So even if it was a big pin in the box, he still tripped over his box and broke his clavicle and broke his hip and sued.
Wow.
So you can't just say, well, my products are all low risk, I'm never going to be sued, because it doesn't matter what's in the box if they trip over a box. Or I'm selling books. Doesn't matter what you sell, you can still be sued. But if you're going to say, you know what, I can't afford it right now, I'll wait till Q1 until it's required, then just be very, very careful about what you pick and don't private label. Don't put your label on anything until you have an insurance policy. You're working so hard to build a business, you can't lose it for one stupid mistake.
Guys, Ashlin is nicer than I am. Probably now. Get insurance.
Right?
You're stupid if you don't. What?
It's so funny. So in my presentations when I'm live, I show a screen of what Amazon requires. And it's a big, long page of legal jargon. And I put, blah, 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 buy the freaking policy.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to. It's so cheap.
Yep. And if the mindset is, I want to make a lot of money, I want to build something massive. Well, here's an interesting fact. It is harder to keep a lot of money than it is to make a lot of money. So don't make it more difficult by trying to find a cheap way around an insurance policy. It's true. Ask 100. Go ahead.
I was saying it takes one false claim to lose your Apple. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. You still have to defend yourself.
and you hear this phrase going around where people will say, well, they can't sue me for that. But is this true? People can sue you for whatever they want. The question is, will it stand up in court, right?
Right.
Okay, so I could, if I trip over this box, now it's hard to trip over because it's really not tall. I could sue Impact, who came out with it, right?
Yep.
If I trip over this and break my femur or whatever bone in my body, it's a pretty dramatic fall. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but
and then you
is,
sue whoever sold that to you.
And sometimes people win these cases.
Right. And it's not even if they win or not. Let's say you sued for $200,000.
You're right.
You probably aren't going to win that, but you still had to hire an attorney to say, I'm a DA and I tripped over a box.
And the part that scares me the most is the one thing you won't get a refund on, and that is the time spent dealing with all the hassle.
Right.
Pain in the butt. Pain in the apple.
If you had a policy, pain in the apple. If you had a policy, you'd say, hey, Ashlin, I have a claim. We'd get you to the claims team, and the legal department handles it for them. It's not you having to call around, find an attorney, pay returner fees, all of this stuff. That's what we're here for, is to just take everything from you and hope that you don't have to worry about it.
Nice. I'm going to go back to what?
Peace of mind.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to questions. Hazel has another great question. She says, would you really need to get the insurance from the country you are in? So for example, she's in the UK. Would a US policy not cover her, or what would she do in that situation? Or would you have to just find a different insurance company?
Yeah, good question. So we're working diligently on trying to get the other countries covered. Right now, you would have to have a US entity to be covered on the us.com platform. We just launched Canada, so now we can cover the Canada platform for US citizens in Canada.
Nice.
We are working on the UK very, very quickly. We are working on Australia very, very quickly because we know that's coming up soon. But right now, you have to have a US entity and a US mailing address.
Okay, excellent. Fair enough. Dharma has a great question. Ashlin, will your policy cover us on Amazon, eBay, and Walmart?
Yes, good question. So your policy will be across the platform. So it's one policy for every e-commerce site you're selling on, even your own.
Excellent.
We also can add an endorsement if you're doing like vendor fairs and you want to take a bunch of your stock to like a fairground or something. A lot of those people are like, well, we need a certificate of insurance. We can do that too and add that to your current policy, so you wouldn't have to do a separate policy for that too.
Got it. What if someone owns 5 businesses? Does that mean they need 5? Let me go back. And all businesses are selling e-commerce products. I understand it's a different kind of business that's different. Does that mean 5 different policies, or one policy could cover all, or does that depend?
Depend on how their entities set up. If it's one entity with 5 doing businesses as, be one policy. But if they're 5 separate LLCs, it would be 5 separate policies, because we're insuring your business, not your e-commerce platform.
That's a really, really good way of looking at it. So what we're really talking about, you guys, and I didn't even plan these whiteboard, but you know, if it's here, I feel like I have to write on it. So get all teacher-like. But
there you go.
This is your business. And we talk about this, and everyone, we're going to get to your questions. Just want to make this one point. We talk about this all the time. This is your business, people, right here. That business, your job, your goal, your efforts are to get the business working for you. It's a major investment. If this business is making you several million a month, you're doing well. There are people on our team who are doing several million a month on their Amazon business. That's awesome. The business is working for them instead of them working for it. And that's the difference. A lot of people, they become entrepreneurs because I'm tired of working for a boss. I'm sick of it. Get me away from the soul-crushing 9-to-5 slavery. And then they go start a business and they think, I'm enslaved again to my own company, right? And so what we try to do is teach people how to build a business in a way so that it's working for you instead of you working for it. Okay, here's my question, everyone. Would you not protect this business? Because if a single lawsuit can take your business out completely, you just lost everything. Not worth it.
You want to sell insurance?
No, and I want everyone to know this. I am not getting paid a dime for doing this. Okay, Ashlyn and I did not come up. I will, if I ever do affiliates, I tell people, but I'm very, very careful with that because I don't want people thinking, oh, Seth's doing this to make money.
Right.
People need to know this. I'm doing this so you can cover your apple and protect yourself and to bring value to our community. So just so you know, I don't get paid for doing this. Now that I think about it,
it's the law. You can't share commission with not licensed people.
It's the same way. I noticed it's the same way with a lawyer type service.
Yeah.
With lawyer services. So yeah. So just so you guys know, there's no affiliate. There's nothing. We're simply providing value to help you guys out. Okay, back to the questions.
Great job.
Is it okay to combine your FBA and eBay business for the insurance? And I think yes, right, as we discussed. Okay, as long as it's under the same company, LLC. I am wondering, the same as Hazel, would I get the same insurance for Europe, Amazon? And she answered the question. They're working on it. Someday they will have it. And guys, I'm going to include Ashlyn's information, not only here in this link, but specifically in our Just One Dime community as well. So you guys can contact her directly with your questions. You're going to get like 400,000 emails tomorrow morning.
400,000?
Maybe not 400,000.
It might take me a couple days.
Okay, here's a question. Edward says, what about legal products that are hemp-based products like CBD oils? Can we get insurance for those?
I'm not sure what CBD oils are. Is that
I think we're talking about, I'm going to actually, let me check something real quick.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure I know, but I want to check it first.
Well,
okay, we're talking about cannabidiol, cannabis. We are talking about pot.
So as long as it's legal in the state that you are living in, I do have a market for marijuana type products.
Right. Yes. So if you live in Colorado,
have a dispensary.
So if you live in Colorado, you're good. All right. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure. I knew what hemp was, but like CBD, and so I Googled it, and it's called cannabidiol. Cannabidiol. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but yeah.
Can you tell we're not
pipe? I smoke a pipe, but there's not pot in it, I promise. and no judgment to you at all, Edward. I'm not playing anything. Just it's a funny topic.
No, but he's selling. He's an entrepreneur. He's selling it to those people who do.
Exactly. It's just I'm just a distributor, man. I just bring the product.
Right.
Margaret says, do you only service certain states? For example, I just got an email that you don't operate in Tennessee.
No, I operate in every single state.
There you go, Margaret. Wild Boy Gamer says, does insurance go by the quantities? Oh, this is a great question. Of shipped products? Or is there a maximum amount of that shipment that can be insured if anything were to happen to it while being shipped? So I think, Wild Boy Gamer, you're talking about a different kind of insurance.
He's talking more cargo.
Exactly, cargo insurance, and that's something your freight forwarder would set up. But let me ask, I'm just curious, do you offer that kind of insurance?
I do cargo insurance too.
Really?
I do.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I had no idea. Well, there you go, guys.
You need to protect your e-commerce business.
Yeah. You know, here's something crazy I learned in an interview a while back. This is absolutely crazy, Ashlyn. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but check this out. If a ship goes down, if it burns and sinks sinks, let's just say there's 100 people who have cargo on that ship. Then all 100 of those people are responsible for that ship, for the cost of going out there, salvaging and everything. And they break it into little parts. So like if there's 100 people, then I am responsible for 100th of the cost.
Right.
If I don't have insurance, then I have to pay for the salvaging, which can cost tens and twenties and even hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on where it went down and what they need to do to try to recover whatever they can, as well as the search and rescue team. When they have to go out and help people, I'm responsible for some of that. If I have insurance, that's coming out of my business.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Do people outside of the U.S. need insurance? I'm from Jordan.
You still need a policy. I'm not going to help you with that yet. So ask your local community. If you end up selling or trying to sell on the US.com, if you can get a US entity for your sales, selling on the US.com, then I can do it, even if you're placed in Jordan. So get a US business entity and you're selling on US.com, then we can help.
Okay. Did you get that, Mohammed? Very, very helpful. Thank you, Ashlyn. All right. And you know what's interesting? If you go to Google Trends and you just search Amazon FBA, the #1 country for Google Trends Amazon FBA is China. The #2 is Israel. 3 is the United States. The #4 is Germany. Isn't that crazy? Back in August, the United States was at the top. Now it's China. Israel was further down. Now it's China, then Israel. And this is just Google Trends based on what people are searching for.
Right.
So I see a massive international opportunity for your insurance company.
Yeah, we're trying very quickly. Take some
What
time.
is, here's a question from Elisha Napoleon. What is the average cost of insurance?
So again, it depends on what you're selling and if you're RA, OA, wholesale, or private label. But I'll kind of give you an idea so you can understand how cheap it is. Let's say you're doing RA, OA, and wholesale, no private label at all, and you're $250,000 in sales or less. You're looking at $600 to $800 a year, ish. Don't make me out through the bad guy if it comes out at $850. But I'm just trying to give you an idea of so you can know that it's really, really cheap. The private label is all over the place. I've got clients at $800 a year. I have a client at $23,000 a year. It really depends again on what you're selling and how much of it you're selling. If you're selling $23 million a year, there's no way in heck I can give you a $1,000 policy. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's the easiest way to do it is just to contact me and fill out the application. I'll get you a quote, and I'm not crazy. I'm not going to hound you down. If it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good. But at least you can understand how reasonable it is to protect you.
Very helpful. So based on those numbers, $50 a month if you're doing, how did I get to that conclusion? The $600 a year was for, sorry, Ashlin, I lost it. You were giving me an example.
So let's say we're doing what, $100,000 a month, $125,000 a month. Potential could be $50, $60 a month for coverage.
So it's a very tiny percentage.
Very
tiny. Yeah. Okay.
And that could be high. I have people at $500 a year. It just really depends.
Right. Yep. Next question. Will you be inventing a product for Canadians who sell in the U.S.?
We can cover Canadian selling in the U.S. now. So we're not inventing, but we can do it now.
Nice. All right. Hazel says, do you know if this insurance requirement is coming into the UK as well in the fourth quarter, or even the first quarter of next year? And then I love this. She says, we are not such a suing culture as you guys in the U.S.
No, it is. The rumor has not spread to any other platform but .com, because we are a very suing culture.
So Amazon's like, man, the U.S., we have to be covered. You guys get insurance because we're not going to be accountable for anything. Yeah, yep. That makes total sense. Yeah, we are getting a lot of feedback. If you don't mind, mute yours when I'm talking, then I'll mute mine when you're talking. It might help a little bit. Oh, there we go. Oh, awesome. Perfect. Okay. And then let's see. Salima says, do you need product liability insurance if the original product is coming from China?
Yes.
And this is like the private label thing. Even though they made it, if your label's on it and you're differentiating it and you're sourcing it and selling it, you are still treated as a manufacturer in the US, so you're still accountable.
Yeah, and I would say you would need it more sourcing outside the country than inside the country.
Interesting, because the risk is greater, because you have less control over it.
You have less control. They might not have as much, not like necessarily FDA, but they might not have as much
certification.
Yeah, like they might not take as good of care of their product as we would here in the US.
Right. Right. Now, that makes total sense. The MSDS, the hazmat reviews, the certification of the child, all that stuff is harder to get if you're sourcing outside. So that makes total sense. All right. Yeah, absolutely, Gary. I'm really glad this is helpful for you, man. Okay. Here's another question. Is it okay, says Diana, is it okay to have your company name for your FBA and eBay companies under the same company name, or should they have different business names? Absolutely can be the same company name, Diana. No problem at all. Absolutely. Let's see.
And no problems on the insurance for that either.
What's that?
No problems for insurance on that either.
There you go. And then Len Swap asked this question. Does your insurance protect you against all types of lawsuits?
I wouldn't know of an exclusion off the top of my head. So if you have a specific example you want me to address, then let me know. But it's going to be anything that you do or say as a company, or anything your products do to harm someone or someone's property. So a good example that I like to say is, let's say you're out there advertising and you put a little swoosh in your logo, and Nike comes back and says, that's my swoosh, and now you have an IP issue. It covers you for that. You get out there and a seller starts bad mouthing you, or a client bad mouths you on social media, and you start bad mouthing back, and he comes back with slander. It's going to cover you for that. Or your product. So let's say you have a cell phone charger, and that cell phone charger is plugged into the wall and burns someone's house down. It's covered for that. Or you're on your cell phone and the cell phone blows up in somebody's face and harms that person's face. It covers you for that. So really, anything you're going to say or do as a business, or anything your products do to harm someone or someone's business, personal property.
You mentioned slander. So are you referring to the cost of someone slandering you, that it costs their, like someone starts doing a campaign against a company's brand and it starts hurting them, insurance helps them in that situation? Or
not really.
A little bit?
It's more along the lines if you get sued by someone for slander. So if you go out and start bad mouthing somebody and they sue you for slander, it would be the cost to defend you for that.
Perfect. Makes total sense.
Yep.
All right. Gary says, I'm new to Amazon. I have a very few single products at the moment. I'm not from the US. Is it important for me to get an insurance because I'm still working on marketing to make sales? And I'll jump into this one. Gary, yes, absolutely. Is it a bigger deal if you're selling in the US? Yes. In fact, let me ask you that. If someone's living in the UK, but they're selling on .com US, does that change anything? Like, they can't be sued. Can they be sued by someone in the US? Or does it have to be in their same country?
That's why we have to have that US entity, because your US entity is what's going to protect them. So it doesn't matter where they're residing, it's where their business entity is. So if they have a US business entity and they're selling on the US or the US.com, that's where we could help.
Got it.
That's where you need to be protected, because the US is where you're going to get sued the most. It's less likely for somebody in China to sue someone in the US for getting harmed on a product.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's like people who live in another country, but they set up a business in Delaware, US. It's over here. Now that can be sued.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I hope that, so in response, Gary, 100% get insurance as soon as you can. But if your business identity is in the US, it's more important, because US Americans, we like to sue each other. It's one of our habits and hobbies.
That's why our attorneys are so rich.
True. Sad but true. Okay, so Rick says, my LLC is doing different DBAs, doing business as, for different categories. So in this case, Ashlin, how do I insure my LLC?
Perfect. So it doesn't matter what category you're selling in, we can insure your entire storefront under your same LLC. So your LLC is what we're insuring. Your DBAs fall right underneath it. So we're going to kind of trickle it up and insure the top portion of it. So it's a good question. We get that all the time, saying, well, can you insure the grocery? Yes, we can insure any category you're selling on Amazon or on any e-commerce platform.
Here's a funny question. If Amazon breaks 10 vases and I have insurance to cover my vases, does Amazon have to pay for those items, or do I have to sue in order to receive justice?
If Amazon breaks them, Amazon pays for it. It wouldn't be your insurance policy.
There you go. And if you did sue Amazon, they have a lot of money, probably a lot more money than all of us rich people out here.
But that does bring up a good question. A lot of my clients ship directly to the FBA warehouse. Okay. In that case, Amazon's responsible for the products if there were to be a fire in the Amazon warehouse. But if you take those products and you ship them to a 3PL, or you take those products and you ship them home, that's when you need to have coverage for those products from theft and fire and that kind of stuff. A lot of the clients are like, well, my 3PL will cover that. Majority of the 3PLs do not cover your product while they're stored in their facility. I have several 3PLs insured, so I can tell you with confidence that they don't have care, custody, and control of your products. So we need to extend that coverage to those 3PLs to make sure that if there's a fire or theft or something like that, that your products are covered there too.
And a 3PL is?
The pick, pack, and shippers.
Got it. Len says, are you protected from the date you get insurance or from the date you first started selling? Does it go back?
Good question. You are protected from the day you buy a policy. So buy it quick.
Got it. So it doesn't have retroactive value.
No.
Like a trademark does. You can get it today, but if you can prove, I started using it 2 years ago, it covers you all the way back to then.
Now there is an insurance policy out there that we can go retroactive, but it is very, very, very expensive. So if it's somebody who said, okay, Ashlin, I really want to do this, let me know and I can at least quote it. But typically it's out of the financial realm of most of the new sellers to be able to afford. So if you have a real high risk product and you're like, oh shit, now I realize I really needed to do this, we can go back and quote it for you. But majority of you who are just new to this can't afford a policy like that because it is quite a bit more expensive.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, Salima says this. Please share the most interesting legal liability case decision that you've ever come across. Most interesting story.
Okay, well, just because it's one that we've dealt with was the watermelon cutter. Just because it was very difficult to see my client have to go through the struggles of defending herself for a product that she really didn't, she didn't own. And my client was distraught. She had just started selling, was starting to make good money, and was very, very concerned about getting sued. So I think that's probably my best one. And if you weren't here for that one of her customers bought a watermelon cutter that was sourced overseas. And as she was cutting the watermelon, her finger got cut underneath it and cut the tip of her finger off. So that was kind of the story for those of you who weren't here a few minutes ago. But I think that was the biggest one, and to be done with it and be able to have my client just be like, I can't believe you guys actually helped me and helped me through it. And it was a lot easier process than she anticipated. I think it was the best for me because I had that peace of mind and that love that, she was happy with what she had. And, she got, $30,000 worth of legal counsel for $700 a year.
Wow. Is she still selling the watermelon cutters?
She is not.
I had to ask.
The apple cutter's gone. The watermelon cutter's gone. The paring knife is gone.
Tony says, what if I sell on Amazon US, but my company and bank account is outside the US? Can you still insure me? And my understanding is not yet.
Unless he has a US entity.
Right.
He could still have a US entity.
Okay. And by US entity, you mean the business?
LLC, yeah. LLC, Corp. Location. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah, it has to be, she's going international. She's moving that direction, Tony. But right now her, it's for the US. And you said you do insure people in Canada.
Canada.
Right. And that's our next question. Can you insure a company that's based in Canada, but selling in the US? And there's your answer.
There you go.
Amen says, can you insure, oh no, that's the question we just had. Okay. Amazon broke one of my products and gave me less than I paid for it. Not cool. No, that's not cool at all, Hazel. I would call them. Yes.
I'm sure Jeff Bezos really cares.
Yeah. Right. Okay. One more question and we're going to close it up. And Ashlin, thank you so much for being here today. Diana asks, is there a deductible if needed to use the insurance?
Good question. So the general liability, we usually do no deductible on just because that's just what we do. If you have product coverage, so the products that are stored in your house, then we add a deductible to that. So anywhere from 500, or if you want 1,000, we could do 1,000. But we typically just do like a flat 500 deductible for any type of business product that you need. So even your computer, like you have materials for prepping, that can be covered under this policy. So if you got like your cellophane things and all of that stuff, that could be covered. That would be a $500 deductible unless you tell me otherwise.
Gotcha. Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much. Great questions. I included the link to Ashlin's insurance company below. I just now chatted you guys the private label Amazon Passive Income Coaching Program that we have. Now remember, you can meet Ashlin in March next year at Las Vegas. We have the Just One Time Summit, which we are super excited about, and I'm looking forward to meeting many of you guys there in person as well. Thank you again, Ashlin. Any last words of wisdom? Any last piece of advice for everyone here?
Blah, blah, blah. Buy the policy.
There you go. I like it. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks again, Ashlin.
Bye. Thank you.